Prime Gaming. You can't use that necessarily as a blanket representation of the community sentiment. I don't want to say I don't like it and therefore it's bad by any means, but I do think that you can make a couple of inferences here and say, okay, well, I don't like it so much, and I have posted a few videos on it regardless, and not all of them have been negative, and yet the views on those videos has been a lot lower. There's been a lot less interest, it seems like, and that seems to be a thing that's happening across the board. And instead of people watching those videos, either it's just less good for YouTube, which I don't think is the case, or people are just less interested in watching videos of it. And if they're less interested in the videos, there's a pretty good chance we can infer they're less interested in playing it as well, because if they were playing and needed some tips and tricks, or they wanted to know how to get to a higher round, or to do an Easter egg, or to learn about the story, then there'd be a bit more demand on the YouTube side. And the demand on the YouTube side would also motivate a lot of YouTubers like myself to do our jobs and to make content that gets views. That's what I have to do to put food on my table, right? So I think it's a fair couple of inferences to say that overall interest in the game is reduced this year by, I would say, a pretty significant margin. Now, there are some people who would argue that, as my buddy here says, content creators are to blame for this. Now, I know that this is a narrative that has been around in the past. It's not the first year when people have said, actually, content creators are at fault here. It would have been fine without them. I think we're a bit of an easy punching bag. We're very public faces. We talk about the game all the time. It's pretty easy, in my opinion, to go, yeah, probably his fault, not a fan. But I personally really strongly disagree with the evaluation that content creators for
Dude, I can't. Why?
didn't give it enough of a chance, and therefore their viewers were just pure sheep who followed the content creators with their opinions and their opinions alone, and none of their own ones, and simply said, okay, if Milo doesn't like it, if Noah doesn't like it, if Pizza doesn't like it, I'm not even going to bother. I don't like it as well. I really strongly disagree with that. Part of the reason for it is just that I like to think that you guys deserve a bit more credit than that. Like, I think that you have your own opinions. You're not just blindly following what we're saying. You probably have jumped into the game. You probably have given it a go. And I think the most common outcome of that is you probably felt the same way that myself and Noah and et cetera, felt, which is that you sort of play it once, you play it twice, maybe you play it 3 times, and you've sort of seen the whole experience. And that's another thing that I think is missing in this critique here, is that it says it's not that different to past zombies experiences, but it's just not true, because not having a Pack-a-Punch camo, and not having a mainline Easter egg, those sorts of things, that is a big change. So yes, you can say, well, it's still got rounds, kind of, so it's like not that far from round-based. You can make those arguments, but you can't make the argument that it's got just as much content as D-Machine, for instance. And I thought the D-Machine ended up being kind of rinsed pretty quickly, and yet still had infinitely more stuff that was more interesting to me than this map has, Pack. And I truly think that with Cold War, when that game came out, and Tifu was streaming it of all people, and all sorts of people from different areas, different communities were all jumping on, they were doing that because everyone jumped in and made that evaluation of, hold on, this actually does have that really fun feeling. Like, I want to grind through some rounds here. I just really want to do that. And that goes for viewers as well. I think that there are a lot of viewers that were just jumping in and going for those high round games and being like, okay, I want to see that distant monster. I really want to try and get to round 100 doing that strat in the penthouse, whatever it was called. Like, those sorts of things were really attractive. I don't think there's anything attractive in Vanguard Zombies, and I don't think viewers have been attracted, like the player base. I don't think they've been attracted to anything really either this year. So this particular critique aside, I would make the argument that content creators haven't poisoned the franchise or something like that. What's actually happened is just that COD is in a bit of a weird spot. I think the same argument probably applies to multiplayer this year as well. I've seen a lot of discourse about that online. I haven't been playing a load of the multiplayer, so I'm not going to comment on it too much here, but it does seem like there's consensus that it's just not really hitting the mark. Warzone has also